guys, and welcome back to Chew on That. I'm of course your host Angela Nicole Chew, and I've got a bonus episode for you guys today. This is about the elevator game. Ooh. This is how you take a trip to another world. I have not done this. I don't plan to do this, but it's still fascinating, and I know a lot of y'all will try this. I wish you safety and luck if you do. Here we go. Let's go into how this works. So, first of all, credit where credit's due. I'm a one-woman band. Be sure to check out my Patreon and help. I do this all on my own, and of course I'm recording with an iPhone 11 using the Switcher Studio program. So let's go on. So the elevator game is an adrenaline rush to the nth degree. It originated in Korea. Most places just say Korea. From what I understand, it was South Korea, which would make more sense with kind of the culture there. But we're gonna say Korea, maybe South Korea, just so I'm not giving you guys inaccuracies. And this is a current trend, and it's extremely popular. It's been out for a few years, but it's extremely popular. It is Googled approximately 33,000 times a month, so people are really looking into this. Of course, the rate goes up higher 2 times a year. The first time it goes up higher is during, spooky season, Halloween, when people are looking for some mischief to get into. The other time it goes up is in February of each year. For any of you guys familiar with the Elisa Lam case, which I've also covered on this channel, one of the theories of what happened to her is that she was playing the elevator game, and so whenever the case comes back up in the public eye, people start looking up, what's the elevator game? And this game, if done correctly, will take you to another world. We're gonna go into some risks before I teach you guys how to play. I've got scientific risks and just common sense risks. So first, what if the elevator breaks? This is a long game, and you guys will see if the elevator breaks, you're just stuck on the elevator, you are going to flip out. Any normal person is like, oh no, the elevator's broken, and it's a little nerve-wracking anyway. But if you're doing this and the elevator breaks, you are going to flip out. I'm just gonna let you know, like, the calmest person is still gonna be heebie-jeebied if the elevator breaks on you. Similarly, what if there's a fire? What if there's a fire that starts and the elevator shuts down, and you are stuck at the top and have to go all the way down the stairs? That's on you. I hope you're into some cardio. Also, if the building's power goes out, again, you're gonna freak out if that happened. The big thing though, and the most likely thing that happened, is you're just creating a nuisance for people actually to use the elevator for their daily lives. I'm sure if you guys have been to conferences or conventions, you all know about waiting forever for the elevator and not knowing if it's going to be going up or down next. And so if someone's playing the elevator game, especially if it's during like a busier day, which hopefully it's not, this is something you would try to play when it's not going to be busy or late at night or something like that. But if you decide to do this during prime time, not only are you not going to be able to complete the game, but you're just tying things up for other people. So paranormal risks, because I'm assuming if you watch this, you're at least somewhat of a believer, if not a full believer. And this is something where I could, just to be honest, I could see it happening for some people. I think when things are out here long enough, there's enough uncertainty in our world where you can never rule out something like this actually succeeding. And so what if you do find another world? Something that can happen when you do this is you find a mysterious woman who's not a good person. You can also be stuck in the other world and you don't know it right away. And you could also bring danger back with you into our world. So on top of the actual scientific physical risks, there are some paranormal risks if you decide to do this, but you know what? Let's just teach you how to play anyway. So you need one participant, aka yourself. Some websites say you can bring a friend if you want, but they recommend one person. If anyone quits during mid-game, you have to start all over. So your friend can't bounce and you just continue. It's like your friend stays with you the whole time, or they have to leave. You need a 10-story building, and it needs to have at least one elevator in it. And you also need some serious balls to play this game, and some patience to play this game. So to get started, you're gonna go to, like, you know, the lobby or wherever, and enter the elevator on the first floor. If someone is in the elevator, do not proceed. You know, just be like, oh, sorry, my bad, and try again a little bit later when that person's off the elevator. As a warning, if at any point during this game someone else enters the elevator, you have to start over. Your game's canceled out at that point. So if you're almost done and then someone walks in, you gotta go back to the first floor and start all over, baby, okay? So once you enter on the first floor, press the button for the fourth floor. And then once you're on the fourth floor, you're gonna press the button for the second floor. And you do not get out of the elevator doing this. Like, you stay in it. So you started first, you went to the fourth floor, and then you press the button and go to the second floor. Then you press the sixth floor and go up to the sixth floor, and then you press the second floor again and go back to the second floor. Now, you're going to push the button for the 10th floor, and then you're gonna push the button for the 5th floor. So once you hit the 5th floor, a young woman may enter the elevator. This is the only time that the game is not canceled out if this happens, but this is not a good thing. So if a young woman enters on the 5th floor, do not look at her, do not speak to her. She is not what she seems. Just eyes forward, continue your game. She is going to stay in the corner behind you for the rest of this. So I hope you have fun. After this, you're gonna push the button for the first floor. And this is like one of those caveats. So when you push the button for the first floor, if the elevator ascends to the 10th floor, you're doing good. So remember, you pushed it to go to 1, and instead the elevator took you up to 10. And that means you're doing good and things are working the way you intended them to. If the elevator goes to the first floor as you think it would, exit as soon as the doors open. And again, whether the woman got in or not, do not look back, do not say anything, just walk away. The elevator has to go to the 10th floor for this to work. So once you get up to the 10th floor, by pushing the first floor button, because math is fun, you can choose to get off or to stay on to the elevator. If you choose to get off and the young woman is in there, she is going to ask you, where are you going? Again, don't look at her, don't speak to her. And you're gonna step out of the elevator and look around. And your only indication that you did this right and that you're in the other world is that you are the only person there. Not including the young woman, she's still in the elevator. So you leave her in there. But if you step out and everyone's gone, that's your indication. That's your first sign that you did this right. Now, if you get to the 10th floor and you're like, oh, this is creepy, I don't like this, I'm stopping, you can remain in the elevator. You can push the first floor button. It's not going to take you to the first floor right away. So you're going to keep pushing the button over and over until you start to descend. It's going to take you straight down to the first floor, and then again, leave that sumbitch. Do not look back, do not say anything, especially if the woman's in there, but even if not, just beeline your way away from that elevator, and good on you. You did it, but you didn't want to see the other world. Now, if you succeeded, if you reached the 10th floor, and you're like, I did all this, I want to see what this is about, and you get out of the elevator, you'll see that the other world looks almost identical to our current world. Other than being alone, there's 2 other things to look out for. 1, all of the lights are out. Lights are gone. So you expect to walk out and see the lights overhead in the hallway. There's not going to be any lights. The other thing is, when you look out any window, the only thing visible is going to be a red cross in the distance. That's all you're going to see from the window. Your lights are out. You can explore as much as you want, but that's what you're going to find. And a lot of players have reported that their electronic devices like cameras and phones don't work in the other world. Some people say they do. So it's a toss-up. You might be able to take a selfie with the Red Cross. I don't know. But, you know, anytime you deal with something paranormal, of course, electronic devices are a huge fetter, and they are known to drain fast. That's why if you do a ghost hunt or something, and you have a camera or something with a battery, you notice when there's activity that surfaces around you, it drains. It's because that presence, whether it's a good presence or a bad presence, is using your equipment as a fetter. So it would make sense if your devices don't work. I personally believe the people who say the devices do work probably had like a full charge or close to full charge to begin with. And of course, you know, people most likely aren't going to stay in this world long. They're going to come out and be like, oh, this is cool, and then go back in the to go home. So if you had a full charge and you're only there for a minute or two, you probably still would use your device. If you are like 50% or less, it's probably going to drain almost right away, and that's most likely why it works for some people, why it doesn't in terms of electronic devices. So it's time to go home. We get to do more elevator math now. So if you did step off the elevator and you looked around, like even if you just took a step out and you didn't really look, you just stepped out of it, you must make sure that you use the same elevator to return as you did to arrive. If you use a different one, it's not going to work and you're going to be in the other world. So you got to use the same elevator. And what you're going to do, you're already on the 10th floor, you're going to push the button for the 4th floor, then the 2nd floor, then the 6th floor, then the 2nd floor, then the 10th floor, then the 5th floor, and then the 1st floor. Now when you hit the 1st floor, it's going to start taking you to the 10th floor again, guaranteed. And what you want to do is you want to hit any other button that you can to cancel the ascension before you reach the 10th floor. If you get to the 10th floor, step out and back in, you got to do that all over again. You got to cancel it before it hits the 10th floor. Even if the door doesn't open, it can't reach the 10th floor. And after you've canceled that ascension, push the 1st floor again, and you'll go back down to the 1st floor. Now, when you reach the 1st floor, check your surroundings very carefully. If anything seems off, even the slightest detail seems off, do not exit the elevator under any circumstances. In this case, you want to repeat all of the steps until things look the way they should. So you're starting all over again. You got to play this thing over again. You don't have to get out on the 10th floor, but you have to repeat that cycle, and you do this until things are back to normal. And once you're confident that you're safely in your world, the world that we're starting in right now as you watch this video, that's when you can exit the elevator, okay? So easier said than done, and I'm sure that's not easy. We're, like 11 minutes in, and I'm sure you guys are like, why are there so many buttons? So it's already difficult with just how many buttons you have to push and doing them in order and watching out for creepy young women getting on the elevators and making sure your world is right. But a lot of times if you get out to explore, you get disoriented and you forget what elevator you used for your arrival. Or if there's only one elevator, sometimes suddenly there's two and you're like, which one did I use? So you have to remember what the elevator is. Some people have also reported that the correct elevator may seem to get further and further away as you near it. And it's not going to take forever, but instead of like a normal walk, you notice it seems to keep moving forward, and you just have to keep walking, keep persevering, you'll get there eventually. So a good thing is a lot of times if there are multiple elevators, the one that is moving from you is the one to go to. The stationary one is probably not the one you want. And when you're looking for the correct elevator, do a quick 360 in a circle. Make sure the one you think you are going to is correct and that there's not one like behind you, and then you have to figure out like which elevator do I take. Now, word of warning, if at any point during this ritual, because this is a ritual, ladies and gentlemen, if you faint or pass out or become unconscious in any way, you'll wake up in your own home, which is kind of creepy because you just passed out. A lot of times not in your home. You might have been in your apartment building, but still had to get in your bed, kind of thing. And a lot of times people are in hotels or something when they're trying to do this. So when you wake up, be sure to carefully inspect your surroundings. because the home that you left from might not be the home that you just woke up in. And if so, you need to go play that elevator game again to get back to your world. Now, that woman on the 5th floor, remember, don't look at her, don't speak to her, because she's not what she seems. So if you do choose to take a look at her, or if you do choose to speak to her, she might just keep you for her very own.